Riya. Welcome to the Mentor Piece. I am so grateful to have you on our show. And we all know that it's tax season and you are the specialist in tax. And I thought, why don't I bring you to the show to really tell us what does it mean to actually submit your tax? What does it mean when we receive our IRP5? I'm super excited to share all these insights with our followers. As well as my mentees, as well as people that have just started a job and now they have to submit their tax return for the first time. It's so daunting, but I know that you're going to help us navigate our way through our tax return and what do we ask from our employer. So this show is all about you teaching us. So take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, as well as why did you get into tax, and what are you currently reading?
Thank you, Andrea, for having me. Your platform is an absolute amazing platform to be on, and you are an
Thank you so
inspiration
much.
for all of your
Thank
mentees
you.
out there. So thank you for what you do. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I have an undergraduate and postgraduate degree in accounting. That's where I started off my journey.
Oh, wow.
Then I joined Deloitte as part of their tax graduate program, and haven't seen back since. Tax has been it for me. I specialize in corporate tax, and I was at Deloitte for about 5 years. I did a lot of compliance, a lot of advisory audit work on the tax space, and that is where I got my foundation, my footwork in corporate
Oh,
tax.
wow.
Thereafter, yes, and thereafter I moved into the corporate space. I
Yes.
worked at a corporate company, multinational company, for close to 2 years. I got a good footing with deferred tax and tax accounting in that space. And then I wanted to venture into international tax, and that is where I
Oh,
am currently.
exciting stuff.
Yes. Yes. So I've gained a lot of experience on the UK, US, and currently the UAE tax space. So yes, it's been quite an interesting journey, and with tax being as diverse as you can say as it is,
Yes.
it's difficult.
Yes.
Yes, I'm trying to get the exposure and the experience that I need. Tax is just absolutely a huge mountain. So yes, that's where I am currently.
Oh, my word. When it comes to tax, I am like such a nerd, and that's the reason why I did my master's in tax. So hearing your journey is so inspiring, especially to those who want to pursue tax. So what are you currently reading? Are you reading any books, any articles, or just to give us a little taste of who you are and what are you into at the moment?
Gosh, I can't remember when I read the last book. With being a
Don't
full-time
say it out
mom,
loud. Don't say it out loud.
oh, I read a lot of Disney books now, if I can tell
Okay.
you
You
about
need
that.
something to calm your stress, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, no, but my journey has been quite a lot of self-recognition over the past year. And what I've been reading quite a bit on is on meditation and yoga. So
Oh, wow.
I, yes, I came across an article which speaks about what meditation can do for your mind, body, and health.
Yes.
And I just want to read a piece for you, if you
Oh,
don't
please.
mind.
I think we could all do with a bit of meditation, especially when our heart almost skipped a beat with the interest rate announcement. And luckily, nothing changed. But please, we could do with some calming tips.
Sure. So, how the article starts is that it says you can't see or touch stress, but you can feel it and its effects on your mind and body. In the short term, stress quickens your heart rate and breathing and increases your blood pressure.
Yeah.
When you're constantly under stress, your adrenal glands overproduce the hormone cortisol. Overexposure to this hormone can affect the function of your brain, immune system, and other organs. Chronic stress can contribute to headaches, anxiety, depression,
Oh,
heart disease,
yes.
and even premature stress, which is we know there's good stress and there's bad stress.
Oof.
But when it comes to meditation, meditation is a cost-effective way to heal your body. and your soul. So it says here that though you may not be able to eradicate the roots of stress, you can minimize its effects on your body. One of the easiest and most effective and most cost efficient way is, using stress relieving techniques of meditation.
Yes.
It is a program in which your body, in which you can focus your attention inwards to induce a state of deep relaxation. And that is something I'm trying to work towards, trying to navigate my anxiety and my stress
Yes,
levels
yes.
through meditation. So yeah, I wanted to share that. I think that's very
Oh,
important for your
I
viewers.
I think that's phenomenal, especially when, sometimes therapy costs so much for people to go to. And I know this is not this is a tax program, but I just wanted to, can you give us just a small tip in what you would do for meditation? Is it like 5 minutes that you would sit with your thoughts in silence? Do you put something on? Just a small tip before we start the tax journey.
Sure. Sure. So what I do is I go to guided meditation or guided quantum jumping meditation on YouTube. So it's about
Oh,
10-15 minutes.
yes.
And it actually guides you through to get to that point where you're deeply relaxed.
Oof. I think we
And with
all
our
need.
lives being as busy as it is, yes, 10 minutes can do you wonders. So that is what I do. I sit outside
Yes.
and I sit in the shade and I just listen to all the birds
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
then to the guided meditation. Yeah.
Oh, I'm already relaxed listening to you. Like it sounds so good to be true, but I think we all need to start, even if it means going outside, outside of your normal environment, from the home, from your work from home desk, and just literally taking 10 minutes. And thank you for the link up to the YouTube link for guided meditation. I think we all need to just take a moment to like step back and relax and just be grateful for what we have currently. Thank you so much, Riya, for that lovely insight. It does tell me so much about you, that you are um a meaningful person that really puts effort into the small things, but even taking time out to like reflect and to think about things, especially to reduce your stress and anxiety. So thank you so much for sharing that personal that personal tip for us. Are we ready to get started with our
I'm ready.
tax?
I'm ready when you are. Yes.
So first question number one. We have about one to three questions, but we'll start. How do we register SARS, or how do we register on SARS e-filing? So I'm a first time user. I'm super nervous. I hear on the news, I hear from my colleagues, have you registered on SARS? Have you submitted your tax return? Tell us, how do we register on SARS e-filing, and where can people go to?
Sure. So I just want to take a step back and I
Okay.
want to just tell our viewers what does tax season quickly mean and what are my deadlines? So
Yes.
yes. So tax season is a specific period during the year when individuals are required to submit their tax returns. Okay. And for the current year, which we are in, which is the 2023 year of assessment, this runs from 1 March 2022 to 28 February 2023. And the income tax returns for individuals must be submitted on or before the following dates, which is if you are a non-provisional taxpayer, usually the case for most of us, your tax return must be submitted by 23 October 2023.
Okay. So
And if
that's
you
the
are,
deadline for us as individuals. The 23rd of October 2023.
yes, submitted
Okay.
on e-filing platform, right?
Okay.
But if
Perfect.
you are a provisional taxpayer, which are taxpayers that pay, first, second provisionals based on this
Yes.
type of structure they have, then you are required to submit your tax return by 24 January 2024.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to show you, I'm going to present my screen now.
Perfect. I'm such a nerd. Like I'm getting excited to like learn from you. So excuse my excitement. I'm sharing it on behalf of the viewers and the followers.
So your question on how do we register on e-filing for new registration. So the first thing you would do is to go to www.sars.gov.za. Okay. Then you go to register. So once you're on the website, you have various options at the top. You under login, you have the register option. You would select that. And once you've selected the register option, you are then required to enter your personal details. Okay. Which is your name, your surname. Are you a South African resident, South African citizen? If you are, select yes. If not, then no. And if you are, then you're required to put in your identification number.
Okay.
And if not, then you will be required to put your passport number.
Okay.
Right? Together with your date of birth. Then you select next.
Okay.
Once you've selected next, you are required to put in your contact information. So your cell phone number, your email address, your username. You have the option of using your email address as your username.
Okay.
Then your password, right? Now, I just want to mention something that please put in a cell phone number and email address that you have access to and that works, because SARS will contact you using one of those methods. All right?
Yes.
Yes. And then once you go on to the next page, you select next, you are then required to put in your address. All right? An address.
So your personal details.
Your personal details. And then you press submit, the submit button. Once you've pressed the submit,
seems so easy.
It is fairly simple. We're in the day and age of technology. Once that is done, you are required to select a preferred method of communication. So it's either your cell phone number that you have just inputted or your email address. Now, why is this very important? One, because SARS will use that as a method of communication, and two is that it is a form of security system. So if you have selected your cell number as a preferred method of communication, once you log in, you're required to put an OTP code. Then SARS will send you an OTP code to either your email address or cell phone number. My suggestion is to use the email address, because if you are overseas, like me, and you need to log in, you may not have access to your cell phone or to your SIM card or to your cell phone number at that time. So you can then use the OTP that comes to your email address to log in. But it's anyone's personal preference. It can always also be changed. All right. Once that is done, we select continue.
Yes.
Then, as I mentioned, you're required to put in your 6-digit OTP.
Yes.
Once that is done, we press submit, and congratulations, you are now successfully registered for e-filing.
That took us less than 30 seconds. So there's no excuse for people to perform their tax returns or to be scared of registering. Because it literally, you took us to this beautiful slideshow. So there's actually no excuses. Nobody has to be scared. They are not asking for hectic information. It's actually information that everybody should have. So thank you so much just for teaching us and navigating us through the SARS website and exactly know where to go and what to look for. So please, guys, please pause, apply, or do it on the side, and then go back to this video so that you can follow Ria's steps. Now on to our next step.
Sorry, Andrea, I just want to mention one more thing, is that just a tip for our readers is that when you start your new employment, your employer should have already registered you for a tax registration number.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yes.
They should all, but that doesn't mean you should not register on e-filing. You're still required to follow this process to register on e-filing. And if your employer has not registered you for a tax registration number, then once you follow those processes, SARS will automatically allocate a tax registration number for you. And what I want to show our viewers
Yes.
as well is that certain housekeeping. So once you are
Yes, please.
registered, what you should also do is go back onto www.sars.gov.za and log in again using your new username and password, just to make sure everything is correct. Once that is done, you will then accept SARS's terms and conditions.
Yes.
Read through them, understand them, and then accept them. And once that is done, just link your tax return type, which for most of our cases is the ITR 12, to the profile. So once that is done, then you are ready to go and ready to start with your tax return. So just a housekeeping rules I wanted to mention.
Thank you so much, Riya. Yes, every little tip helps. And at least if people get stuck, they know exactly where to go. And I think that tip, just if you're not registered, or you think you're registered, it's better to ask the question first with your employer and then navigate through the SARS website yourself, just by following your links as well.
Yes.
Then just to touch on that note, with regards to the employer, we all know that we get an IRP5 from our employer. What is that exactly, and how does it relate to our tax return?
Sure. I just also wanted to mention something. When I started working, the IRP5 was such a, oh my God, I need to do my tax return. What is an IRP5? What do I need to do? You know, it is daunting. So I'm hoping this helps our viewers.
Thanks.
So to get onto it, an IRP5 is a tax certificate that provides details about your employment income. Any benefits that you have, any deductions for a particular tax year. What it includes is your gross income, the amount of tax that was deducted, your pay as you earn, and any other deductions such as your pension fund, your medical aid contributions. So it's just a snapshot for the period of what was your income in terms of any employment, any deductions, how much tax you paid, any medical aid contributions that you have in one form.
Okay. So like you said, our financial information that it's almost like your pay slip, but on a gross level, that now we are submitting all of that information to SARS in order to submit our tax return. And like you said previously, that the company actually has registered us for tax, and technically all of those information should be populated already on the SARS, on our SARS return. Is that correct?
Yes. So SARS, what SARS is doing is that they, so your employer will be required to send this information to SARS. Then SARS will automatically pre-populate this onto your tax return.
So that's how the two correlate. So when we go on to, when you'll take us through now the tax return, we would actually see that information. And that's technically how we would agree. So would you take us please through the tax return, and what are the line items, and then how do we compare that to the IRP5, or what do we expect to see on our tax return?
Sure, I will do that.
So, Riya, we receive our IRP5. What do we do next? Where do we go to on the SARS website? How do we submit our tax return? Take us through, navigate us through this tax return journey.
Sure. Thanks, Andrea. So first thing you would do is log back on to e-filing. So go to www.sars.gov.za. Log in with your username and password, and then you are then shown the navigation page or your dashboard. In your dashboard at the bottom left, you are given a brief history of your tax returns. So all your tax returns that you previously submitted, the tax return that's to come, the due date, and the return status. Okay. And then on our left-hand side, we are given our navigation bar. Here we can access any SARS correspondences, our prior return history, our returns that we've issued, and any other type of tax returns that we have. But for our normal people, normal taxpayers, it's usually our personal income tax that we would look into, okay? So Yes. So we go into our returns issued. Once we are in our returns issued, we go to the top right-hand corner. We select the current year of assessment, which is 2023 for us, and we request the return. Okay. Once we have requested the return, we get into the return. Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is very important. The first thing you will see is your standard list of questions. What we call them is a form wizard.
Okay.
The way in which you answer these questions is the way in which your actual return form gets structured. Okay. We are not, I don't think in this session we can go into question by question, but I just want to give our
But high
viewers
level,
a
yes.
high level, yes. So we would be asked a question, as some of the questions we would be asked is this return prepared by a tax practitioner? So if you are preparing it yourself, then you would answer no. But if you have a tax practitioner preparing it for you, then the answer would be yes.
Okay.
The other type of questions in here would be, were you unemployed in this year and for the period in which you were unemployed? How many IRP5 forms did you get? So if you have more than one employment, you can get 2 or 3 IRP5s. Okay. And this information is usually pre-populated, but it's important that we just review this. Okay. And yes, then you can have other questions. For example, do you have any medical contributions? Do you have rental income? Do you have any other, any other type of income other than what's in IRP5? So high level, these are the type of questions that you'll be asked, and the form will be generated based on your responses to these questions.
Okay, so it's actually very crucial that you answer these questions as honestly as possible.
Yes, very important.
Yes. Okay.
So this is exactly what I mean. So this is an example of a tax return, all right? So we have a form wizard is what we've just looked at now.
Okay.
Then we have taxpayer information. Under taxpayer information is all our personal details, our name, our contact details. Are we married? If we are married, if we are not, if we are married, is it in community of property or out of community of property? Then the next section is banking details. Very important section, because if we are receiving a refund, we need to make sure that this section is correct.
Yes, exactly. Okay, perfect. Please, guys, ensure that your banking details on SARS is correct.
Yes. And the next section is our IRP5. Now, I just want to mention a few key points on our IRP5. So what you need to do for this section is that you need to open up this section, right? And you need to review this and compare it against your IRP5. So what are we checking for here? Yes. What are we checking for here? Number one is all our personal information. So ensure that your personal details, such as your name, your South African ID number, your physical address is correct. Okay. Next is income. So important that you check your gross income on your IRP5, that it matches against the income that is reported on the tax return. The next thing we're going to look at is income. So check that your gross income on your IRP5 matches the income reported on your tax return. This includes your salary, if you've received any bonuses in the year, and any other income that you may have received from your employer. Okay.
And that will correlate with the IRP5. Yes.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take our IRP5 and we're going to take out the information on our tax return and we're going to check it line by line. Very important to do this. And the reason is that it's pre-populated. And although we strive in an era for non-error, it may happen. And we just want to ensure that our numbers are as accurate as possible. All right. So we've checked our income. Now we're going to check our deductions. So ensure that the deductions on your IRP5, such as your contributions to a pension fund or medical aid, are correct and they match those per your return, right? The tax paid, next thing would be the tax paid. So ensure that the total pay as you earn, your total
Oh,
tax paid
yes.
per your IRP5 is also correct. All right.
Okay.
Because you don't want it to be more than what's in your IRP5, then SARS has the information wrong, and then it's the information is actually incorrect. So you want the information as accurate as possible. I'm just reiterating this.
Yes.
Yes, and the last thing you also want to check is your source codes. So
Oh,
each type
yes.
of income, each type of income and deduction on your IRP5 is associated with a specific source code. So make sure that those source codes are correctly reflected on your tax return, because
Okay.
depending on the source codes, the tax implications are linked to the source code.
Okay. And to get the definitions of the source code, so say if somebody doesn't understand where we can interpret the source codes, can we get this also on the SARS website?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
We can actually put a link at the bottom of our on the description
Okay,
page
that
on the
would be
information
perfect.
video
Yes.
to help our readers. It's accessible. You can just filter for the source code that you're looking for, and you get the description.
Okay, perfect.
So that's high level it. I just from an IRP5 perspective, I do want to mention other aspects. So
Please.
that's your IRP5, right? So we've checked now our IRP5 against our tax return. All is good.
Okay.
Now, the second point, in this high-level example, we have taxpayer information, income. So if you have selected in your form wizard, for example, that you have rental income, this is where
Yes.
you would have to put in further information against your
Oh,
in
yes.
terms of other
You'd have to
income.
disclose if you own a property or not.
Yes, so your other income that you've received during the year, for example, any other form of other income would actually come on this line.
Okay.
All right. And
Yes.
then if in your form wizard you selected, that you have paid medical contributions in the year, which is, and if you have any medical expenses, then all your deductions that you've claimed or wanting to claim will come under this line. So
Okay.
if you have a home office and you're wanting to claim certain expenses, then you're also able to do that as a deduction.
Okay. So
Provided
just a
you've met.
disclosure on home office expenses. Ria will do a short interview on her LinkedIn because some people think I think there are certain rules to claiming um those work from home expenses. So it's not just all black and white. So please go to Ria. Or you can look at the SARS website, especially for those rules that do you comply before you just put your deduction on your tax return. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Yes. So any type of deduction that we are claiming, we need to make sure that it is correct, right? And there are always ins and outs and ifs and buts on claiming deductions. So there's a whole list of requirements on even claiming medical expenses. There is a list of requirements. So it is important to do your research or speak to a tax practitioner, or you can reach out to me. I'm more than willing to help our clients or viewers. So yes, it's quite intricate,
Yes.
but there is enough information and people willing to help in this regard.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Then the next section we have in our example is a statement of assets and liabilities. So if going back in your form wizard, if you selected yes to any questions such as, did you receive local business, trade, or professional income, including rental income for the year? If you selected yes for that, or if you selected yes for, are you a director of a company or a member of a closed corporation, then this section becomes mandatory and you are required to complete this. But this again, Andrea, is a bit more complex. And for our viewers who are just out of university and jumping into their work environment, we're not necessarily going to see this, because mainly what type of income they have is just a salary that
Yes,
they're
yes, yes.
earning. And they may have medical aid deductions. They may
Yes,
have
yes,
some
yes.
interest investment income, but they mostly they won't have these more complex
Okay,
situations.
so
So
what you're actually saying is that we need to do another YouTube video for the intricate items.
sections. Yes, we can.
Yes, or we can even do one for companies, especially for guys that want to start their own company. And NB, you need to register for tax. So, are you keen?
This is your show. You tell me what you need and I will provide it for you.
You are far too sweet, you are far too kind, and far too generous. But I'll take it all. Okay, perfect,
Yes,
Ria.
so yes, so this is so in our example, the last bit here is a statement of assets and liabilities.
Okay,
Once you have, inputted, double checked and inputted all the information, what you are then required to do is to just do a review. You need to do a final review.
okay,
Right? You need to do a final review of your entire tax return. Then you can go to, there's a calculate at the top of our return. There's a calculate button. You may calculate your return to see if you're receiving a refund or you have to make
yes.
in a payment. And once you're comfortable with the numbers, you're comfortable with all the information, you have all the supporting information should SARS request it, then all you do is then you submit your tax return. And
Oh,
then it is done until the next year.
uh, at least we have to do it once a year, submit all the information, and that's it.
Yes. Unless you're a provisional taxpayer, but that's a
Yes, yes,
story for
yes.
another day.
Another channel. You're giving me now lots of ideas. Or we will definitely refer all of our viewers and our followers to your platform so you can give us all these little bits of information that's going to help us navigate
Of course,
um
of course.
our taxes. Thank you so much, Ria, for that insightful presentation. Not only have you helped us navigate through how to register for SARS, which literally took less than 30 seconds, but also you've explained what we can see on our IRP5 as well as our tax return and where do we go to when we answer the questions on the wizard, where do we document all our information. We truly appreciate you just taking the time out to share with us. And I know some of us will have a lot of questions. Just a disclaimer to our viewers and our followers, this is not tax advice. So don't go quote Ria. This is just to help you navigate through your tax return. And if you do have specific questions, you are more than welcome to contact Ria. And this show or this episode is just to help you understand a bit more about what SARS is actually trying to say when they ask you for your information to answer as honestly and as accurately as what Ria has explained. Ria, is there one more tip that you can just help us before we end this episode for our viewers?
Yes, sure, most definitely. I just want to, the tip that I can give is that if you have submitted your tax return and if you've made an error, right?
Yes.
And you've double checked it and you've triple checked it, but still we are humans and if we make errors, what you can do is that you can always request for a correction.
Oh,
So
that is an excellent tip.
yes. Yes, if it is a genuine error and you've picked it up and you quickly want to make a change, you've answered yes to something which should have been a no, you can request for correction and you would be able to resubmit the return. And it may trigger SARS asking, okay, what has changed from your prior return? But if it's a
Yes.
genuine error that you've made and you have all the supporting information at hand, then
It
you'll be
shouldn't be an
fine.
issue.
It shouldn't be an issue.
Ah, thank you so much, Ria. This episode, the nerd in me definitely excited to complete my tax return because I know it will take me less than an hour, especially if you don't have a complex tax return. with a lot of other income and you're just getting your IRP5. So getting this information from you has truly been a blessing. And I hope that this episode impacts a lot of people to go and go register if you're not registered, to go and go submit your tax return, so that you have no issues with SARS. And if there are any questions, they are more than welcome to contact you. So thank you so much for coming onto the mentor piece and sharing bits of information from a tax perspective.
Thank you, Andrea, for having me. I really appreciate it. And
Oh.
again, you're doing a wonderful job.
We're both doing amazing. So it's two inspiring individuals motivating each other. So I'm always rooting for you on your platform, and I cannot wait to see what you have up your sleeve next.
Thanks, Andrea.